Yo. It's not very professional. Just eating and I've got the little rusty bit in my throat still. Alright, we're good. Happy Saturday. Missed last week. You ever get that thing where like it's dry and then 2 buses come at once? And I've got like 5 buses coming at me at the moment. So it's a good problem to have, I guess. It's what I signed up for. Yeah, I'm also driving a bit more now. The bike has been put in hibernation. I've actually got it with me today, but I had to fix the mirror. But then I go get the car again. So I'm commuting with the car again. So I'm listening to more audiobooks and such. And there's a part of me that just wants to listen to music and just kind of have a little dance while I drive. But I want to level up, so it's about discipline, isn't it? It's always about discipline. It's about showing up. That's half the battle, just showing up. You know what I mean? Even if you're not listening, or you've just going to the gym, showing up, half the battle. Do 20 minutes on walking, and while you're there, you'll get FOMO. You'll look at someone doing something, get, oh, I want to do that, or you go, oh, that machine that I was going to use the other day is free now, and then while you're there, it's amazing. That habit of just walking through the door and showing up is just so important. I've been listening to like book summaries to see if I want to listen to them, and then I've just started to listen to a ton of book summaries because at the end of the day it sort of breaks down in 15 minutes rather than a 6-hour audiobook. I am listening to Rich Dad Poor Dad, but I sort of I read it before years ago, and then I left it in Iceland airport, and then I never picked it up again. So I'm listening to the audiobook half an hour a day, and I kind of get the gist of it. It's a bit pseudoscience as well. Like just if you think you're a loser, you're going to be a loser. If you think I want a thing, therefore I'll figure out how to get the thing, instead of saying, and it just talks about assets and liabilities and stuff. So, people get more money and then their liabilities go up. So really they're always at the same level, where really you want to get more money, keep the Astra, keep the Ford Focus. The second you go up to the BMW, it's not necessarily the BMW's cost. You can get a BMW for 10k, but if something breaks on the Audi or the BMW you got, it's significantly more. So it's the consumables as well as not necessarily the car, of course, insurance and all the rest of it. So it basically talks about that. If you want to be at the same level, when you get the better job, you get the better car because you think that makes you more manly, perhaps, or more authoritative. If you roll up with a dusty car, there is things to do that, but you don't have to buy. I think the new Ford Focuses look sick. Oh, I wouldn't even buy a new Ford Focus. Those they've gone up in price, but I've just got an Astra, like a middle of the road car. I said to my mate when I had the car crash, I said to my mate, what's a cheap car to fix? Because it's all the little tyres and bits and bobs that get you, isn't it? He went Astra. Bought an Astra. Simple as. Don't care what colour. I got it in silver. Does the job. One of the book summaries I was listening to was a book called The Dip. And it basically talks about progress in life. There's 3 processes you can take. So there's one called the cul-de-sac, and cul-de-sac means road with a dead end. So when people, the housing estate would be a cul-de-sac where you go in and you have to turn around to get out. It's a cul-de-sac. People. I've only ever heard it in that term, in the housing term, like the cul-de-sac. Oh, well, that's a cul-de-sac of houses. So I always wondered, like, oh, there you go. Then so it basically means dead end. So you have a cul-de-sac where you pursue something and then you fall off. So you might make a couple of quid every now and then, but you can't scale it. It's very high, lots of risk, lots of money to entry level. So you sort of just stay floaty and you fall off. This is where you want to quit cheaply and quickly. So if it's a cul-de-sac, for instance, like maybe going into a market where it's super saturated, I don't know, selling sportswear. You know, there's a few shops that do it, but what, you know, unless you're in a village or something, you can't really franchise that off and do the thing yourself, because it's so, all the sports brand, all the shops that you get, all the sporty stuff from, or starting a brand. Like, this is my Aruma, I do it for fun. This is my brand. I've got the print on the back as well. I do this for myself. I see a Nike t-shirt and I think, I'll make it myself, but with my logo on. You know what I mean? That's all it is as well. So entry level. So it's quite interesting. So, but then that kind of forces you. If you are in a position like that, you need to niche down and focus on what are you selling. You're not selling trackies, sportswear, trainers. You need to niche down, and that's perhaps where you might find a niche, or I don't know, even things like shoelaces. Become a shoelace. You know what I mean? Like, just like, don't sell the product, sell a part of it. Low storage, low postage. You know what I mean? Like, you can be a shoelace expert. I don't know. So that's one of the graphs in this dip. One of the graphs is the cul-de-sac. The second graph is the dip. You want to be in the dip, right? So, for instance, when you pick up a new hobby or a new thing, the dip. So let's do it. So mirroring. So the dip goes like that, and it's like a stock market. You're excited for it. You learn really quickly. You learn playing guitar. You learn the G chord. You learn what a C minor is. You know what I'm looking at my guitar now. You know what a D is, and then you're really excited. You pick up like very basic songs. You're like, oh, guitar's easy, and then the dip happens, where you actually have to play 3-minute songs and focus and listen, and I think that's where you really fine tune. So at the moment, I feel like I'm in the dip. Having the business. I mean, again, there's no sort of actual timeline to this. So I built my Etsy store up. It's fallen, and I still think I've got a great product, and I can offer my services, and my expertise and my wisdom and all the rest that comes with it, and my advice, blah 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 blah. So, and I think now it's sort of going back up now. It has. I always thought that I was just slowly increasing, which will come to the first thing. But I think, if a stock goes sideways, that's quite healthy. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And I have been doing a bit like that, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, learning about rules and fees and stuff. But I feel like I've sort of got, the packaging right. Da, 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 da. I know what my print is capable of. Da, da, da. So that's the dip. You dip. The dip's where the learning comes in, and frustration. And slight, because frustration at the end of the day is just learning, isn't it? So the dip is the frustration. You're like, oh, you know what? I don't actually want to play guitar, and also maybe I'm not very good in front of people. And so playing guitar was just a kind of hobby thing, and then I'm like, right, if I take this any further, perhaps I might have to do a live show. Oh, I can't do a live show. That's mental. And then you have to learn the sound equipment and the audios and the visuals. It's that's the dip. You're like, oh, do I actually want to do this? And then when you fine tune it, you take up, and perhaps you need to learn the softwares and stuff. So that's the dip. You want to be in a dip. So excited, and then the more you learn, the more you realise you don't know. So that's the dip. You're like, oh bloody hell! It goes down. You can go down the rabbit hole into anything. So, and again, you can niche off, and that's probably where these things didn't work. These things do work. Actually, I prefer playing bass guitar or something. You know what I mean? Like, so, and you can learn if you like what sort of music you like. Do I prefer playing heavier songs or poppier songs and da 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 da. I really like doing intros on my guitar. I feel like I haven't had the time to do illustration or play music or make music. And perhaps I'll get that point where I can sorry, someone texted me. Get to that point where I can pick up my hobbies again and passion projects and such. But yeah, and the third graph is the cliff, which is you're kind of sticking with it, and then boom. So this could be something like, again, even trying to join a high entry level industry, or maybe your heart's not in it, so you can only give it a bit of time every now and then, or you're doing it because it's a trend, perhaps, like drop shipping or something, and then before you know it, boom. But then again, the cliff could be boom and then dip, so you can have a dip at the end of the cliff. So it's really up to you if you want to. Basically, the dip is the best place you can be, because the dip is where you learn, dip is where you fine tune. You don't want to be in a cul-de-sac, and if the sooner you can figure out something's a cul-de-sac, whether that's a relationship or a side hustle or a hobby, you pick up bloody downhill skateboarding or something, and you realise you fall over once, you're like, that bloody I don't fancy that anymore. So the book's called The Dip. I can't remember who the fella is who wrote it. And I was just listening to the summary on YouTube, and I thought that was sort of good way to be, isn't it? So the dip is where you want to be, and then you watch. I'll reference this again when I'm back up there. So, and I think I'm just like on the curve coming up. So the momentum, I'm just there, and then one time it'll go. So yeah. Lots going on. I'll talk about that in another video. I'll probably do another video in 2 days, as I missed last weekend, and I feel terribly guilty. I know this doesn't get seen by a lot of people, but I enjoy it, and it's sort of part of the fun of having a business. I think it needs a face, and here I am trying to share my love for what I do in this crazy world. I hope everyone's all right. Have a good rest of the weekend. Peace. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff.